and welcome to Geekatplay Studio tutorials. So in this tutorial we'll look on units and how to set up and capability with early materials inside the Vue 11. So if you watch previous tutorial about discovering Vue 11, you may be familiar with the options of the what measurement system used inside the Vue. If not, you can go to File, click on Options, and you're going inside the units and coordinates. Right here you will notice you have settings that you can specify what you prefer, metric or imperial, foot, feet, yards, miles. Included its own internal Vue units. Sometimes you maybe want to use this if you want set special capability with other external applications. By default, it's come with metric automatic, and that's what I use it. In some cases, if you're using early versions, you probably want to switch this towards centimeters or meters. Next, you also can specify if you're using Vue units, which is 1 unit equal. Currently, it's equal to 0.1 meters, which is 10 centimeters. Okay. We also can minimize this. This is default values. You also can say that you want to apply this all settings to the new current or other settings. So let's click OK. We'll apply it, and of course, because we start, it will be created by default. So let's look a little bit closer on an older type of materials and see why sometimes they're not showing correctly. So I'm going to create a sphere. And we'll go to preload some materials. Right here I have it materials from different versions, 10, 8, 9, and actually right here Geekatplay 600 materials collection, which is have it quite a bit early ones. So some of them was creating in Vue 6, and let's say if they will work and why if they work, or some other ones if they don't work, why they don't work. So first I will go select paint on a metal. Okay, we'll go click OK, and right here you can see its material look applied correctly. Okay, as example we'll go to render, and right here you can see we have it nice details and options. Let's go ahead, open material editor. However, you will also notice the scale is a little bit different from what we render and what is displayed. On first case, why it does apply close enough? Because we're using object parametric. So the materials distribution will be applied based on an object size. And it doesn't matter really in a scale, if we increase or decrease, you'll notice the texture is scale with the object. So this is number one kind of option to see. Of course, if we switch this to the world standard as example, there we start having a bit problem based with units. So first things, when you look on your material it doesn't work, check if it's set on a world standard. Don't switch it yet, we'll look how to work with this, but this is probably indication that is related to the units. If it's set on object parametric and you still have a problem, on this case it's meaning something going wrong inside the function editor, and we'll look on some possibilities what's going on wrong there. Okay, next things with older and new material, because Vue with every new version introduce better control and more options for the materials, and those options not exist in previous. So when you import a different material, some of the settings will set to default and may affect how they look. For example, in early versions we did not have it some effect. This is single materials, but if you have it additional layers, we did not have some effect on environmental, same as we do have now. As well, in version 5 and 6 and 7 you did not have translucency, so this is total new option was added. However, translucency wasn't affect that much because it's enable disable, it's kind of, but also other options may affect it as the bump material is changed in other ones. The one thing what I notice biggest difference, it probably will be how rough material look, and mostly it's based on the bump material or on a bump depth. So you'll notice this quite bit effect, and mostly if you're using the world standard mode. So right here is a simple, and we can see our depth it's work fine. It will be look a little bit different and affect more if I'm using material displacement, but currently here is just bump map. So if I want to take this older one material and apply, I probably will have a little bit decreased depth. Actually go opposite way. So we'll have a little bit less bump map, more kind of smoother, and this with the older materials. And as well, probably go inside the function editor and work right here with multiply. So what's happened before, if you have it early versions, you'll notice it's one any multiplier here. To make capability with some positioning with the new measuring systems and make it compatible, the view converting materials by adding this multiplying node. And currently you notice, because I use standard, it's multiplied by 225. So this is actually standards with aside. And if you notice yours material does not import, and we'll look in a second another ones, most likely you can go inside the material editor and modify settings inside the multiplier. Be sure that effect on a position, how it's generating on random, that will affect the seed and creating properly. So for example, right here I think this is maybe too large. So actually what I'm going to do as example, let's go increase multiplier. You'll notice it is actually, let's go even higher. You can see how decreasing, or for example if we even go to 1, you'll notice how we changing how our Perlin noise is affecting. So right here with 1 multiplier, and right here example 100. Okay, for example in this because this is will affect how the seed and everything affected, they won't be that visible as with the world standard. We can actually modify this in just a preview. Okay, right here world standard. Okay, and you can see right now how it's changed. Okay, so we applied, multiplier is set to 1, and you can see now we can see without this too small noise. Okay, so let's go ahead, click OK, and let's look on different material. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we'll go and select probably pine. Let's select a western rock, and this is quite a bit old one. So we'll go open, and let's open again. You can see we have it multiple layers. They're all set as a world standard. They maybe look okay on single objects. We can look after apply them to multiple. Again, the one other things, just notice if you're using any special custom design nodes that locked or fractal or other ones, rock nodes or whatever, some custom build, if they build with kind of not a standard way, they may affect how the materials display. If for example this one was using standard settings, so you won't see that big different like you maybe see with some other materials. So right here again you can notice the old world standard set. Okay, and they also look kind of okay even here. So let's look in our function, and you notice we don't have a multiplier on this one because it's multi-layer material, and when it was converted without multiplier. So in this case whatever we created, it will go directly as was intended. Okay, sometimes you need to go through all these different nodes just to verify they all look okay. This was created in a little bit early versions. Okay, we can also look on other materials. For example, this created by using image mapping. Okay, right here you notice it's object parametric scale. We'll go to edit. With image based it's a little bit different because you notice we don't link this to any other seed. It's purely based on an image. And again, currently it's at object parametric, so it will rescale, resize it based on an object size, and it will be acting a little bit different if you switch to world standard. However, if you're doing this, you'll need modify scale, but that is a straightforward. With image based it's similar that have it before. The most way to change you'll see it is when you start using parametric and world standard. Okay, so let's go ahead. We'll go open different one, and one which is actually I want to show it's eyes with crack, so we'll open that one as well. Okay, you'll notice it's set as a world standard. Okay, we'll go edit function. Okay, right here for example we don't have multiplier. In some cases you maybe want to add. It's based if it will work properly. Again, this is just very simple cellular parent, so if you're using fractal and more complex, that is may affect. And mostly what I find out, actually if you're using like a terrain fractal or a grain, those is maybe more affected by the scales than any noise nodes. Okay, so let's look on other one, and I'm going to open displacement material. Okay, if you look, actually conversion it's look not bad for this. Okay, if we look on a depth, the displacement of material depth may be a little bit too high as well. You notice we have high noise. If we open, and this currently node, you notice we do have it multiplier was added, the capability. Okay, and again we can reset it, and in this case you'll notice reset does not actually work very well, so you probably want to keep it as the VU conversion suggested. Okay, or even smaller if you want a little bit more details, depend on the scale of your object. And again, this is object parametric, so it does change if you go to world standard. On this case you probably want to go in multiplier and reset this to 1. So it's again it depends what you're using, but let's go right here, switch to object parametric mapping mode. Okay, and right here you can see we have it nice applied to our rock. So overall, here's a few points for you when you convert with materials and it don't work. Check the mapping mode, depth of the bump map if it's too high. Be sure if it's converted with multiplier, you can change settings inside the multiplier to apply right ratios. If you're also using some fractal nodes, be sure the wavelength it will modify it. For example, when this material created, the wavelengths was set to 1, not 4.5, so it will just a little bit increasing. Okay, in this case you can see multiplier can go back. Okay, so we can go reset all of this. Okay, let's go back. Okay, and the same as Perlin. So if we reset back this, now our multiplier can go work a little bit more with the properly values. Okay, so you can see the areas where it's modified. So multiplier, wavelength, object parametric standard, and of course in the options be sure you set a properly unit that you want to use it. Thank you for watching this tutorial from Geekatplay Studio. Please remember visit us on the web is www.geekatplay.com.